Hello everybody. In my talk, I will present first investigation to reduce the flammability of food by incorporating and radiation curing some flame retarded resins. Wood is a bio-based material with outstanding properties, so it is used in many applications like building, but it contains cellulose and it is flammable. So it needs to be flame retarded in some applications. There are several chemistries available for that, based on inorganic salts, phosphorus, nitrogen, silicon, and so on. And there are two main methods to improve the flame retardancy of woods. The first one is a surface deposition of a layer containing flame retardants, like painting. And the second one is the incorporation of flame retardants into the bulk of wood. Some thermosets, like unsaturated polyester, can be cured by radiation processing, like gamma rays, for example. Radiation processing is interesting because it is highly penetrating. It does not need initiator. The treatment is quite homogeneous. The processing cost is ranged between 0.5 and 1 euro per kilogram for moderate dose, lower than 40 kilograms. Radiation processing is already available at industrial scale for sterilization, cross-linking, rafting, but also for protecting archaeological woods. And finally, if we add a monomer containing flame retardant groups into the resin, during curing, the flame retardant group will be covalently bound to polymer, and so we can expect a durable treatment. For this study, we have used several woods from Mexico or from Europe. The density ranges from 500 to more than 1000 kilograms per cubic meters, and the thickness of the samples is 1 or 2 centimeters. The processing was carried out at Arc Nucléaire in Grenoble, France. In the first step, wood is degassed under vacuum. In the second step, the resin is added and wood is immersed into the resin. And in the third step, the pressure is increased to 6 bar during one night to ensure a good penetration of the resin. We have used a typical unsaturated polyester resin, cross-linked with a styrene, but we have added phosphorus monomers M1 and M2, and the content of these monomers was monitored to ensure a phosphorus content equal to 1.6% into the resin. We have also used a commercial flame retarded resin containing 20% of chlorine for comparison. Radiation curing was carried out using gamma rays at a dose equal to 30 to 40 kilogray, and we have checked that the curing is complete at this dose. We have measured the impregnation ratio of all our samples. The first observation is that the ratio decreases when wood density increases. Especially, it is very low for very high density woods, so the method is not suitable for these woods. Note that some woods like beech have a quite high density but remain very impregnable. There is almost no effect of the resin because all the resins have a similar viscosity, and so we can conclude that the impregnation ratio depends mainly on wood species. Note that the impregnation ratio reaches 50% in some cases. It's very high, and we can consider our materials like wood plastic composites. But in all cases, the phosphorus content does not exceed 1%. It is quite low. We have observed the impregnation of our woods by the resin. Usually penetration of on surface is quite good, but not complete, and in depth the penetration is more and more increased. We have also performed some phosphorus mapping, and we have observed some interesting and surprising results. For example, for chestnut, as expected, phosphorus is observed in cells filled with the resin, but for some other woods like TD, which is a Mexican wood, phosphorus seems to be concentrated into the cell walls, and these observations need further investigations. About macroscopic properties like heat conductivity, here the main observation is that the density of our wood plastic composites controls these properties. For example, here heat conductivity increases with density, whichever the wood, whichever the resin incorporated into the wood. This observation can be extended to other macroscopic properties like sensitivity to moisture, shrinkage, or mechanical properties. In all cases, the density is the main parameter controlling these properties. We have also noted the influence of some other parameters depending on the considered properties, like sample orientation, wood species, or resin. For example, one of the resin containing the phosphorus monomer M1 improves the hydrophobicity. From a flammability point of view, here I present some heat release rate curve at microscale using pyrolysis combustion flow calorimeter. The main drawback of our method is that our resins are more flammable than wood. This is the case of the unsaturated polyester one, but also of the flame retarded resins, including the chlorine resin, which is the best one. But at least the flame retarded resins are able to char, and the char content ranges between 16 to 21%. It means approximately the same value as wood. At bench scale, in cone calorimeter, the typical heat release rate curve is the following one. Here it is the example of balsa, but it's the same for other woods. There is a first peak of heat release rate, followed by a plateau, a second peak of heat release rate, and finally at the end of the test, after flame out, we can observe thermo-oxidation. The first peak of heat release rate does not change very much according to the wood species. Its value is around 150 to 200 kilowatt per square meter for heat flux at 35 kilowatt per square meter. The delay between the peak of heat release rate depends mainly on the sample mass. In comparison to untreated wood, the resins increase the delay between peak of heat release rate because the density and so the sample mass increase. The resin containing the monomer M2 increases also the time to ignition because this resin is thermally stable. But in many cases, unfortunately, the resins increase the total heat release in megajoule per square meter, the smoke production, and quite often the peak of heat release rate. Here I present you the best results obtained with chestnut, with the impregnation ratio between 35 to 40%. And in this case, we observe a reduction of both peak of heat release rate. But it's not a general observation. Despite these disappointing results, there are some other comments to do, and especially about the charring. Here you can observe pictures of the residue at the end of concalometer test for untreated wood and wood plastic composites. For the composites containing phosphorus, the residue is black. It contains a high amount of char, and a main observation is that despite a lower or similar residue of resins in comparison to wood at micro scale, in concalometer, the residue content of wood plastic composites is much higher than wood. It means that there are some interactions during burning, and probably phosphorus improves the charring of wood and improves also its thermal stability. The high charring content has of course consequences in terms of total heat release. Especially we have calculated the difference between the theoretical total heat release calculated from the total heat release of the resin and of wood at micro scale and the experimental total heat release. Keep in mind that the theoretical total heat release for wood plastic composites should be approximately equal to 17-18 kilojoules per gram. But in fact, we have measured a significant gap between the theoretical and experimental total heat release, and this gap may be as high as 5 to 6 kilojoules per gram. So flame retardant lowers the total heat release in kilojoules per gram, not in megajoule per square meter, of course. This is especially the case for one of the phosphorus resin, and it is in relation to the high charring content of these materials. This is only preliminary result. We have shown it's possible to obtain a complete cured resin at moderate dose, lower than 40 kilogray. The impregnability is very dependent on wood species, and we have also observed a strong dependence of many macroscopic properties on the density of our composites. Of course, at this stage, the flammability of our composites is too high. We don't pretend that we obtain very good flame retarded materials, but we think our method is promising to reach two objectives. The first one would be to monitor some macroscopic properties by incorporating a resin, and by choosing a flame retarded resin, it would be possible to monitor these properties without deteriorating the fire behavior. And the second objective would be to improve clearly, significantly the flame retardancy, but in that case, we need to use much more flame retarded resins, especially probably containing much higher phosphorus content. Thank you for your attention.